Café Anyway. Welcome to Café Anyway, somewhere in podCastro Valley.
It's Mike's Daily Podcast.
And you can watch this podcast, believe it or not, in the world of Facebook, the Facebook page.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
For Mike's Daily Podcast. I go live on it and then put the video up there. It stays up there for about a month. And then I dance around, and then I punt a little football across the field, and football season's coming up soon. I know it sounds unreal. Hey, it's something I learned. Also, I learned that driving home from
Mike's Daily Podcast,
Fremont to podCastro Valley can be quite a chore, especially when everybody is all backed up between
Mike's
that street.
Daily
Is it Tennyson?
Podcast.
Maybe Tennyson. All the way.
Yeah.
All the way to Sorry, I'm on prednisone, and I got the not pregnant zone, but I got the stuff in my system to fight off the wonderful poison oak that I somehow got. Now I'm thinking I got it from Rocky the cat, that he was outside somewhere in the backyard and he jumps around through some of my neighbors' backyards. And the way everything is so overgrown in some of the backyards, I wouldn't be surprised if he stepped in some poison oak and maybe it stayed on his paw. And then when he walked on me, he got it on his paw, as in me, as his father, his paw. Aw, isn't that cute? And then when I got the oils on my hands, and then I take my glasses on and off because I'm farsighted ever since I got the LASIK eye surgery back almost 20 years ago. So when I take my glasses off and on, the cheaters for up close, since I'm no longer... It's weird. I was born nearsighted, and after LASIK surgery, I was perfect vision, and now I've become farsighted. It's weird. The trajectory of my life, so weird. Anyway, Café Anyway, I gave myself poison oak on my head because I was handling the glasses and then putting the glasses on my head, and you see how that went.
And here's today's podcast picture.
So Rocky, because of that, you're not going to be in the podcast picture today. We'll have the other pet, the pet from long ago, the wonderful, wonderful Basil the boxer. He's going to be in the podcast picture. I mentioned he'd be in the podcast picture soon, and so you can see him at mikesdailypodcast.com. And you can also see the podcast picture, I think, on wherever you listen to. If you, like 99.9% of you listen to this show on Spotify, and you can see the podcast picture on Spotify as well. So I make it helpful for you to see this guy right here, the late great Basil the boxer, and his wonderful smile. I think this is one where he's running on the beach in 2016, so about 8 years ago. So I guess what I am saying is the traffic was really messed up today. Part of it is on Mission. When you're driving on Mission, a very busy street in Hayward, you will sometimes get these lights that become just blinking red lights, and everybody has to treat it as a four-way stop, and then they get all confused and they don't know what to do, and they just sit there and it takes forever. So that's the part of the fun. But I know you're not listening to this podcast because you want to hear Mike Matthews complain about the traffic in the Bay Area. Everyone knows traffic is bad everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, traffic. Even on the Las Vegas Strip. Hey, I heard about this thing called
The Word of Dog.
Oh, some more of Basil's singing for you there. In Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Sphere may spend $80 million adapting The Wizard of Oz so that it can be screened at the futuristic venue. There's a guy I watch called It's Yesterworld. That's it. He's got a YouTube channel called Yesterworld or something to that effect. At any point, anyway, fascinating because he did a little documentary about The Wizard of Oz, going all the way back to when it was written by Frank L. Baum. wow, making the movie. It's amazing that movie even got made.
Mike's Matthewsman Park.
The front panel will close automatically. Please remain seated at all times.
Making that movie was a Matthewsman Park. The ups and downs, how crazy it was. For example, you had Judy Garland, young lady though she was, in her, I guess, 20s maybe. She was on a diet of black coffee and cigarettes. That was her diet. Oh, and then they gave her basically drugs of other types to keep her thin. So she lived on that. There were tons of reshoots for that film. The outtakes weren't kept. There may be a few that you can find on YouTube. But, for example, Buddy Ebsen was supposed to be the original Tin Man. And the paint, you probably heard about this. That Hachi-Machi paint that was put on him that had little bits of aluminum. It caused him to get violently ill. He almost died. I had heard it closed off your skin was, he wasn't able to breathe through his skin, basically. He was suffocating. So he somehow survived that, almost died from that. And then later he'd become Barnaby Miller, if I'm remembering correctly. And he was in Davy Crockett, the Disney TV show and movies. He was in that show. Anyway, Café Anyway, the thing is, it's an amazing story of how that movie was made. And now they want to show it in Las Vegas in the Sphere and adapt it as such. Which, if you've seen any video of the Sphere in Vegas, like maybe the YouTube performances, what the heck? You've got to basically, you're surrounded by this enormous screen. And it's amazing to see from the outside as well. I have not seen it in person. I am not going to go to Vegas anytime soon. Only if I have to for some crazy reason. The last time I went was because I had to. It was a friend, A-Frame, who you hear at the end of the podcast and announced the podcast picture thing. It was her birthday.
Anyway.
Gosh, this was so far back. This is back when she turned 21. And we decided here at Café Anyway that we'd all go to Las Vegas and celebrate with her. That was the last time I went. I had a horrible time. Sorry, A-Frame. It was just a wretched time. I hate Vegas. I don't smoke. I do drink, but not that much. I definitely don't gamble. So not the place for me. And I hate deserts. So why am I living in California where I'm surrounded by desert? I don't know. I don't know. Café Anyway. Hey, 71%. That's the percentage of people age 50 and over who...
Mike's out of left field recordings.
Recording everything captures actions that will never again be repeated.
That's right. This is out of left field, what I'm about to tell you. Here at Café Anyway, somewhere in podCastro Valley, the last place on earth, in the land of Ameritopica, with all these amazing topicas. And this is episode 2888. So we got 3 8s for you, 288. But you know what? 71 is the number I'm throwing at you now. 71% is the percentage of people of the age 50 and over who use Facebook. That's right. So Facebook's audience is old timers like me. Do you know how many teenagers do? Okay, so you got 71% of people 50 and over. Teenagers, how many? What's the percentage? A third. 1/3, 0.33%, right? That's 1/3? Last I checked? No.
And now we return you to our regularly scheduled program with Mike Matthews.
I suck at percentages. That's what the show is about, Mike being bad at percentages. So as you can see, teenagers ain't using it. Hey, by the way, Mike's Daily Podcast is now on Rumble, the crazy right-wing YouTube bizarro world. And I don't upload the full podcast. I don't upload the full video of me doing the podcast. it is just about 60 seconds of the best parts of the podcast that I upload. So, and it's the same channel name is the same as me, or same as this podcast. Mike's Daily Podcast is where you can find it on Rumble, if you for some reason are on there. But Deadpool and Wolverine topped the $1 billion mark at the global box office. Currently, the highest grossing R-rated film of all time is not Deadpool and Wolverine. It's Joker. Because that pulled in a little over 1 billion, actually 1.078 billion when it came out in 2019. So I guess Deadpool and Wolverine has probably passed that point by the time you hear this. NBC awarded gold for Olympic coverage. Yes, they did well. The viewership of Paris was up 76% since the last Olympics, which were in Tokyo. If the Summer Olympics, which, by the way, Tokyo, if you heard in the last podcast, it is the number one place for foodies to go because it has the most Michelin-rated restaurants. If the Summer Olympics were an original streaming series, it would rank second behind only, and this is pathetic, Bridgerton. Oh, why? Why, people? Are you that hard up for entertainment? Bridgerton is number one of all streaming.
Mr. President, are you suggesting President Biden's using cocaine?
I don't know what he's using, but that was not. Hey, he was higher than a kite. And by the way, it was the worst. It was the worst address I've ever seen. State of the Nation. I'll tell you, State of the Union. That's not State of the Union because he doesn't represent us properly. That I can tell you.
I find that fascinating, that clip, because that guy that asked him that question is such a Trump apologist. Anything Trump does that it sets the rest of us spinning on our heads going, what the heck? What do you mean breaking got canceled from the next Olympics? But anyway, Café Anyway, what? Let me put down a little bit of cardboard box for me to spin my head on. But no. That guy, though, that asked him that question, usually the things he criticizes Kamala for are like micro, small, tiny, little, insignificant things compared to what Trump actually does. So I don't get that guy, the contradictions. And he's a very intelligent man. I've heard him talk on all kinds of topics, and I go, oh, that makes sense. Oh, I'd like him to run the country. He's really smart. But then when he gets into his little...
The Fascinating Material Project. FM Project.
Right-wing talk show host mode drives me nuts. So it probably drives you nuts that I talk about this stuff, so I'm going to stop. Hey, this is interesting. So my lovely lady friend last night informed me that she has signed up with a gym. And she really likes this gym. It's close by. She went to it. She said it's a good deal. She can cancel whenever she wants. She didn't have to sign her life away. And I said, that's good. That's good. Because when I was married in the late O's, my then wife signed up when we were living in Huntsville, Alabama, signed up.
A fine article.
You silly great fat article.
Didn't sign up with a fat article. That would be a bad name for the gym. Fat article. Actually, it was called Curves, from what I remember. But so she signed up with this gym in Huntsville, Alabama, and she stopped going after just a couple of months. And I go, you're not going? No. Well, you're not still paying for it, are you? And, we had a joint bank account, and I'm like, you're not still paying for it, are you? And she said, oh, yeah, I'm still paying for it. I'm like, well, that's you and both of our money that's going to the gym that you're not going to anymore. The one that I can't go to because it's for women only. Oh, yeah, but I'm still going to the gym. Uh-huh. Okay. You can kind of see why we're not married anymore. But the thing is that you couldn't get, she said, Mike, I don't know if she called me Mike. When you're married, you have pet names, right? Let's hear it for pet names. What was it? What was the thing that Seinfeld and his girlfriend, one of his many girlfriends, they called each other Schmoopy or something? You're Schmoopy. No, you're Schmoopy. Well, what happened was that there was this thing There was something in the contract that said that she could not cancel. I don't know. That's how she explained it to me. In fact, it wasn't until we moved out of Huntsville, Alabama, moved from Alabama to Alameda County here in the Bay Area, that she said, oh, by the way, that got canceled because we moved. What? It took us moving to cancel it? Makes no sense. Well, people are actually using their gym memberships, and that's a problem. New year, near me, new me. Near me, near you, near year. What? No,
we love you, Mike.
I'm confused. New year, thank you. New year, new me. You hear that all the time at the beginning of the year. It's well known that gyms are profitable because people don't go. And if people did go, gyms would be crowded and they'd be annoying. You remember during COVID when all those gyms shut down, they had to shut down because there's no way that... Yeah, it's fun times. Made me laugh too. Oh gosh, COVID's everywhere. Got to wear a mask everywhere. Can't touch anything because there's COVID on everything. It's blowing through the air as we speak. So there ain't no way you could be in an enclosed space sweating. And of course you got to wear a mask if you're indoors. So you're going to sweat, work out, put your body through all kinds of rigorous workouts, and you're going to have a mask on. Okay, that makes no sense. So people quit going to the gym. The gym's closed. It looked like all gyms were going to go bankrupt. I think a couple did. But they've come back with a vengeance. And yes, they're very happy about that. But Planet Fitness currently averages 7.2 thousand members per gym. Over 7,000 members, but most only accommodate 300 people at once. Yet they have over 7,000 members. What? Kombucha. That's exactly what, and they probably charge a lot for the kombucha they sell there. I know people buy so many refreshments at the gyms. Only 18%, 18% in the teens of gym members go regularly. They experience their experience subsidized by everyone else. Gen Z now apparently is wreaking havoc at the gym by actually getting ripped. They're inspired by fitness influencers. Where else? On TikTok. They have surged on social media, and that with Gen Z. What else? What other? Well, they're not going on it. They're not checking out any other social media but TikTok. So it's got to be TikTok. These are all TikTokers. They're getting ripped, so they're trying to get ripped too. Which it was easier to get ripped when you were younger. Let's face it. When you were younger and you had more energy and you could lose weight faster, it was easier. Then you get older and it's tough. Your metabolism slows down. You can't burn the fat as quickly. They also are using the gym to make friends.
You will travel into the incredible universe.
What? You can actually make friends at the gym? You don't have to go to church to make friends? You don't have to go to the bar to make friends? Oh, wow. That last one. It's funny. Any friendship that was made at a bar goes bad real quick. That's wrought with disaster. Friends you make at church can go good. They can go bad occasionally, but they can be very long-lasting, good relationships. How are gyms adapting? Some are adding group events and social spaces for members. That's interesting. They're kind of getting into the social media world. They're weaving their way in to become a community type thing.
Cutting corners, corner.
The cutting corners corner. They're almost taking the model of the church, of that fellowship thing. They're trying to be like that. But then also weaving their way in the good parts of social media, which was supposed to create community and get you in touch with old friends and that kind of thing. But the Cutting Corners Corner today is all about what you should do, and that is don't join a gym that is going to lock you down with a contract where they're pulling money out of your account every month, even when you stop going. It should be something, if you do that thing, if you do it that way, you should have some kind of reminder reminding yourself, hey, if I'm not going to the gym at least twice a week, there's no reason for me to have this crazy money suck subscription rate being pulled out of my bank every month. It's my suggestion to you. But a lot of that information I pulled from Mr. Rob Black. I produce his podcast, and he is heard on AM 1220 KDOW weekday mornings. And then he is also on Cron TV Monday through Thursday in the 9 o'clock hour.
Hey, kids.
That's him right there.
It's me.
With his funny voice.
Do-Re-Mi the Clown.
Doing that funny voice that he does called the Do-Re-Mi the Clown. I don't do funny voices at all. Hey, look who's here. Hi, Mark. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How you doing? It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player. Mark, tell you what. What? I find that some of your humor, I have to listen closely. Because then when I hear the contradiction, I realize that contradiction that you have just said is actually the funny part. And that's going to make me laugh if I think about it and let it hit me and wash over me like a nice wave at the beach, cooling me down. Tell you what. What? I heard you like a new podcast. Well, actually, there was a podcast I actually walked into once. This was earlier.
Ginormous.
It was a ginormous podcast. I know they definitely have more listeners than me, but I was walking in PodCastro Valley. We had just gone to Posh Bagel, where we have spent way too much money on food that's not good for us. See, it was a plug and a slug. And we're walking past the Starbucks next door, and I see three guys sitting at a little round table, like they got there outside a cafe. Well, we got round tables outside a Café Anyway, but we at Starbucks, they got the round tables. And they're all like talking into microphones and laughing, and they got headphones on, and I go, I know what. That's me snapping my finger. They're doing a podcast. And I'm looking, and they see me looking at them, and they go, hey, how's it going? And I go, are you doing a podcast? And they said, yeah. I go, I do a podcast. I'm a podcaster. And they said, oh, yeah, what's the name of your podcast? I said, Mike's Daily Podcast. Oh, hey, that's cool. And I go, yeah, we're podcasting from PodCastro Valley. And they go, what? PodCastro Valley. Well, I was listening to their latest one. They were podcasting from San Leandro, from the faction brewing there, and talking about recalling somebody in Oakland, some politician person, and now I've completely forgotten the story, the what they were talking about. But it was fascinating. The guest was great, and because this lady really wants to recall this attorney general or DA or something like that. And I'm like, this is the way podcasting is very cool when it's done. And of course, you're never going to hear this about this podcast in a million years. Spotify, YouTube Music, the iHeart app, the Odyssey app, the TuneIn app. None of those apps are going to tell you about a podcast like that. They're going to push on you Joe Rogan. They're going to push on you The Daily from the New York Times. They're going to push on you the This American Life and Pod Save America and all that other crap. You want to listen to something that's local. You want to listen to something that's done well. You want to listen to something that's going to tell you something interesting that you're not going to hear from the same people. Now, I know I subscribe to 3 different news, what I guess the right-wingers would call legacy news. Although, well, let's say I do listen to the Fox News Report because I want to get all sides. And you know what? For the first time I listened to Fox Newscast, I was like, okay, where's the bias? I'm waiting to hear the bias. And all I heard was a little more news. I really didn't hear it. Maybe I didn't hear like Trump in an exceptionally good light. I didn't hear Biden in a good light. I don't know. It was just news. So I get it. I know once you actually watch one of the shows and Sean Hannity and all that, you're like, oh yeah, this is right wing. But then I'll listen to CBS News, which people tend to say is more left leaning. And then there's the NPR News, top of the hour news, which people say is left leaning. And who else do I catch? I used to listen to the BBC News, top of the hour news. But then something went weird with their stream, with their RSS feed. so you couldn't get the podcast the normal way. And then I try to pull stuff from right-wingers, left-wingers. I was listening to No Agenda, and they are very hard right. I don't care what people tell you. They are just way out there to the right. And I'm like, Alex Jones, anyone? Is this what has happened here? And I used to love it because you've got Andy. Is it Andy? Adam, not Adam Carolla. He used to be on MTV years ago. Well, so was Adam Carolla. Adam Curry. There we go. And John C. Dvorak. And they're very smart guys, but wow, the conspiracy theories they jump into. And I guess a lot of people like that. And they think, oh, they're actually telling the truth. And they did, when this whole thing was unfolding with Trump nearly getting killed, I was listening to them. And in the beginning, I did not hear, it was interesting. As soon as one of these news events happens, they're talking about it. And I didn't hear any bias going on. It was only afterwards when they got to pick up on all the bias that they hear from their right-winger friends that they started regurgitating what they were saying. But right in the beginning, I was actually hearing some news from them, which they were just because they watch a bunch of news and they were just reporting on what that was. But I stopped listening. So who cares about anything? I'm telling you just that there are all these shows out there. And there's way more to listen to than what you are fed through Spotify, through the major apps. And Spotify is the biggest app for podcast listening. And then, of course, there's YouTube. People go and do podcasts on YouTube or Rumble. They just post their talking into a camera, which I'm doing right now on Facebook, my Facebook page. And no one is watching at the moment, as I can see live, which is a good thing, which is a very good thing. And there's one more person here, and that's a very good thing because they're pouring me a root beer.
Hello, Mike. I make delicious root beer. Have some right now. Oh, boy.
Thank you. Oh. Dang. That was really good root beer. I wonder what was in it.
Mike, I put this really delicious, wonderful recipe that I got online. It was an Alex Jones website. He had recipes on it. I took the recipe for root beer and it's the best. Oh, boy.
Thank you.
Drink right now. Cut you.
I think I need to use the bathroom now. This root beer, this Alex Jones root beer is reacting very badly with the pregnant zone. Prednisone? A calzone? Next show, it'll be the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. What do you think about anything we covered today? You can call this number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
And with all things Mike's Daily Podcast, we go to the mainframe and hear from A-Frame. And, enjoy what's left of the summer. We're halfway through the month of August. So just hopefully you're staying cool. By the grace of God, we have had a big, huge, wonderful cloud of nice inversion layer coming into the Bay Area to keep us cool in the East Bay in PodCastro Valley. So I'm hoping that continues. The nice thing about living here in California, that if you just, forget about the graffiti and the taxes and the poison oak, is that we have some very nice summers if you live close to the coast. But if you miss the sun, you just got to drive about an hour east and bam, you've got sun. And I'm hearing it's very hot in Las Vegas and Arizona, New Mexico these days. So stay cool, stay calm, stay collected. And with all things Mike's Daily Podcast, here's A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.